Hi friends, this is William G. Peter. Yesterday I was discussing with one guy who is holding a PhD in computer engineering, also studied neuroscience. I said to him when he demanded an evidence, what are you going to do if I provide evidence for the existence of God? He said, I will start believing. I said, you will have to believe only in the absence of an evidence. If I give, evidence for God, thereafter, there shall be no necessity to believe. Because when you have an evidence that negates beliefs, when the moment you get an evidence for the existence of God, then belief become absolute. That's what, my point. He disagreed. He demanded, no, I will not believe unless you provide an evidence. I have seen, that kind of a concept in the Western peoples a lot. I am, interacting with atheists on daily basis, 50s and 60s of atheists. Everybody demands, in the first place, evidence, evidence. My approach to the existence of God is that I need to believe in God in the first place. When I begin to believe in the existence of God, that does not mean I have an evidence. I have to believe only in the absence of an evidence. To get an evidence, I need to begin with believing in God, in Jesus Christ. How do I say? Because of the fact, belief is a psychological process or function in our brain. So if there is a process or a function, then it should have a starting point and end point. So when I begin to believe in Jesus, I do not know really Jesus is God or not. But I need to believe, because belief can either be true or false. There is absolutely no problem for me to believe in Jesus or believe in anything. The problem is that I need to pursue it, then I have to get, the evidence so as to come to know whether my belief is either true or false. That's what my approach is. As I said, belief in Jesus Christ or belief in God is a psychological process in the brain. If there is a process, then it should have, the starting point and end point. So when I begin to believe in Jesus, I need to grow in the knowledge of knowing Jesus more and more. So my brain is exposed to various, scenarios and finally reaching an end point. In the end point, what happens? The breaking of the seal of the brain takes place. Why there is a breaking of the seal of the brain takes place? Because of our brain has been conditioned, or our brain has been sealed, or our mind has been closed not to develop a contact with God of this universe. And that is the reason, the breaking of the seal of the brain has to take place. Once the breaking of the seal of the brain takes place, or once the condition is removed, then what happens? Whatever the finite faculties or finite entities that we inherited from our parents, from our predecessors, shall be expelled from our brain, paving way for the infinite entities or God's Spirit to get into our physical body, then goes to the brain and seal again. Because of this reason, I am saying, the belief in God is a psychological process that should begin without the evidence, and we have to believe further, knowing the knowledge of Jesus more and more, and finally reaching, the end point where the breaking of the seal takes place. Then the finite faculty is removed, and instead, the infinite faculties of God's Spirit replaced back into our physical body. And that is a point, one is saved, or one is born again, or one is born of God. And thereafter, it is impossible, even for deadly diseases like cancer or COVID or accident or bullets, to destroy such a person. So, born again or salvation or redemption bought by Jesus by shedding his precious blood on a cross is great than anything else. That's what, the power of belief in Jesus Christ. So, you can just begin to believe in Jesus, grow in the knowledge of knowing Jesus more and more, and reaching an end point, and receive the God's Spirit into your physical body by the removal of the unclean spirit or parental spirit or a satanic spirit that we inherited from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and thereafter you are born of God. That's the proof, that's the physically demonstrable evidence for the existence of God. So, I would like, the Western peoples to study over it and come to know God exists. I'm not asking anybody to convert from the respective positions. No, my business is to testify who Jesus is all about. Thank you. Thank you for listening.